Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. Guys, today got a little road trip on the road. We're up just south of Atlanta, Georgia in Peachtree City, Georgia, and I am at Airbase, Georgia, which is a wing of the Commemorative Air Force.
Indeed.
And we're actually in their machine shop here where they do restoration work, and we thought we'd do a little shop video. So I'm going to introduce you to John Flynn, who's one of the volunteers here and kind of, I guess, runs the machine shop or one of the lead guys. I don't know, he can tell you more about it, but tell us, introduce yourself, tell us about what's your operation here before we go on tour.
Okay, well, my name is John Flynn, and we are a pretty big organization. We're about 350 members. Maybe 100 of those are active, but we're still a very active wing. And we maintain and fly 9 World War II airplanes, or World War II era. We have a couple of Korean War, but we're basically a flying museum. We have a P-51, an SBD, a P-63, a T-34, a P-19, anyway, and they all fly when they're serviceable.
Good. And your shop here, what do y'all do here?
The shop, we make parts for ourselves. We're not, we don't make outside parts. So we do a lot of sheet metal work, and we repair broken parts. We have all the blueprints from the original airplanes. So we make parts that are broken for airplanes. And right now we have a P-47 we're rebuilding, and we have a Stinson that we make. And we just make mostly non-structural parts, but anyway, whatever is required.
Good. Yeah. All right. And I noticed you've got a pretty strong Southern accent, so you're
well,
from Georgia originally?
No, I was born in 1936, and I lived in just west of London, the outer borough of London. I was there during the Blitz when they were dropping bombs on us. I don't remember too much. I just remember the fires burning over London and a few explosions. And airplanes, I remember airplanes.
Wow.
And my dad was in the RAF, but he was a cook.
Okay. Interesting. I didn't realize that. I knew you were from England, but anyway, I thought that was interesting about that. All right, let's go for a little tour and show you some of the tools they got in here. They got some really neat old machines, so let's take a look.
Yeah, this is a South Bend 10-inch tool maker in those days of lathe. It's the old belt drive. We have never converted it, but it's still an accurate machine built in 1944. And it's kind of unique that our airplanes are from 1944, and the machine we use is from 1944. We have a surface grinder over there that is used occasionally. It's a more modern, but it does what we need.
Yeah. All right.
And we have the usual assortment of grinders and draw presses, and this is the grinding and buffing area down here.
Okay. And you were telling me about this K.O. Lee tool and cutter grinder, that's something y'all are actually wanting to find a new home for?
You know, it is possible, because it just sits there. And this should move. It does move, but this is an air bearing in here, and because it's not being used, it's just degrading. It would be nice to find a good home for it somewhere.
Okay, so if anybody's out there looking for one of these, and y'all got a couple of items that y'all are kind of looking to get rid of.
We do.
And if y'all,
if they're going to, yes.
Go into a good home and can make a nice donation to the museum probably, so, but.
That would be we're looking for an arbor press.
Oh,
we have this arbor press, but we're looking for
hydraulic press, yeah.
Yeah, hydraulic, but we're looking for an air-driven or a hydraulic-driven.
Right.
About the same size, maybe 2 feet, 3 feet, 30 ton.
Okay. Yeah, and you were telling me that this one is kind of on loan, but the owner wants it back or something. Yeah.
Yes. Well, he keeps saying he wants to take it back, but I don't know where he's going to put it. Okay. But yes.
Yeah. In other words, but y'all are needing one. So if anybody knows of a good little hydraulic press, they don't have a tremendous amount of floor space, but they're looking for one. So you got a nice arbor press over there next to it. What is that one?
Oh yeah, we have
got a couple of them.
We do.
So okay, that's a Famco 4R. That's a nice press.
Yeah.
And then this little one over here. What is this one? Threadwell. So they made broaches, and I'm sure that was a broaching press then. Yeah, cool.
And we have an old bandsaw here that I'm in the process right now of making a new blade for. Well, not for this one, but this is an old, but it still works fine. It's,
Yeah. Do-all, that's the deep throat. Yeah, it's got the, I guess, 4 wheels in it?
3.
3 wheels, okay.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes around the back. Oh yeah, there you go. But that gives you the deep throat in there to cut the really longer parts.
Yeah, the original would be.
Yeah, right. Neat. Yeah.
This is a handmade English wheel.
That's for doing sheet metal work, right?
Yes, this is for, well, it raises a dome. This is one of our members made this 20 odd years ago. It's an English wheel. And what it does on a flat piece of aluminum, it raises a dome in the middle. And so you just roll it back and forth until you get the curvature you need.
I'm sure that's important on airplane parts where you got all the curvature. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and automobiles, old automobiles, they use them more on that than
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This is our Cincinnati flathead lathe, tray top lathe, I think. We ran this for many years with just a 3-jaw chuck, and then Keith found a 4-jaw chuck for us, which I think he did a video on rebuilding.
That's right.
This chuck.
Yeah.
So we don't need it. We didn't need anything this heavy, but this is now serviceable, and we have used it. So, and he also came up with this collet closer for us.
Right.
And that 4-jaw chuck that is in the. So we are fully equipped for this machine now.
Right.
It's a little bit worn out, but like all lathes, you can still do accurate work.
Sure. You just have to know your machine. Yeah.
If you put.
Yep.
If you.
Little dial indicator on
dial
there.
indicators, and not rely on the on the lead screws. Yes.
Yep. Very nice. It's actually a nice little machine, and the chuck down here that you guys got was actually given to me by a viewer, and of course I turned around and we refurbished it and got it to you guys.
Yes.
So a lot of times when people send stuff down to me from my shop, if it's not something I can use, I try to find a good place for it, like you guys. So and that worked out great. And
Talking about finding a home.
yeah.
Over here we have a Cincinnati horizontal milling machine
Okay.
that we would like to find a home for.
Okay. So this is a horizontal.
I'm not. What model number? I don't know.
It should be right over here. So it's a 2MH.
2MH.
Yep. So it's a size 2 milling machine. This is the MH model. And oops, I'm hung up in the machine behind it. Yeah, I got some tooling to go with it. Some 50 taper tooling that probably doesn't fit anything but what's in here, and some horizontal milling cutters and whatever.
Scrap mills.
Got some arbors that go with it. So, yeah, so again, if anybody is looking for a good little horizontal mill, y'all have used it, it works, right?
It does work, yes.
Just not something y'all are needing, and you need
I
space.
haven't used it for so long, I don't even know where the switch is at. I've never actually used this one,
Okay,
but I know it runs.
okay.
I don't think the coolant system works, but that's typical of old.
Yeah, that's not very unusual. But so if anybody is interested in this, again, this is in Peachtree City, Georgia, just south of the Atlanta area. There you go. He just turned it on. And works fine. So if anybody's interested in this, contact me, send me an email. I'll put my email address right down below, and I'll connect you guys with the museum up here. But yeah, they had told me before that they're looking to get rid of this just to make some room, right?
Yes, to make some room. Yes.
Okay.
We have too many milling machines.
Yeah, you got a line of verticals here. Probably ought to come from the other direction where we can see them a little bit better, but some Bridgeport mills. And yeah, that's a nice line of them for sure. Got digital readouts on them, and
Yes, and they all work.
they all work. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Some of our members actually donated these that worked here, that no longer with us,
Sure.
have passed on.
Right. Came from their home shop to here
Yeah, I have no idea really.
yeah. Okay.
But, yeah, the only non-Bridgeport is
that little Rutland.
The Rutland, and that's
It's actually a little bit bigger mill, so you got a little more capacity on it than some of the other ones. Yeah. And that's more or less a Bridgeport clone, I think.
yes. I think the head, the parts are some
Yeah.
of them are interchangeable.
Right. Very nice. And down here you got a little more modern Haas CNC mill. So what's the story on this one?
Well, this was a guy with a machine shop in Fayetteville, and he was upgrading, and he had this machine, and he was here on a tour, and he was kind of impressed with what we do and what we, and our flying airplanes, and so he said he donated this to us.
Okay.
And he actually paid to have it moved here.
Wow.
And rigged and set up and donated a whole bunch of tooling. I've never upgraded myself. I'm not a CNC,
Sure.
but we do have a couple of members that make parts.
That'd be a nice addition for some of this aircraft stuff for sure. It's probably not impossible to do on a manual machine, but a lot easier to do, particularly when you get into curves and
Yes.
those kinds of shapes. So yeah, nice. Very nice addition there.
Yes. Yeah, this desk in front of you here is all P-47 landing gear parts that we are attempting to, and also farther down. We have, I think, 3 gears, and we're trying to make 2 good gears out of 3.
Gotcha.
Parts for old airplanes are very difficult to get.
Sure.
And we're not allowed to manufacture this stuff because it's all heat treated.
Right.
We don't have that. We can heat treat aluminum, but we can't heat treat steel.
Right.
So that's it. And over that down there, that's the Stinson. They've just rolled it into the shop because they can put the fabric on, and they need climate control. They need the right temperature. It's too cold out in the shop, out in the hangar. So they rolled it in here so we can put the side panels on the.
It looks like y'all. It looks like y'all got some sheet metal tools over here as well that y'all for doing sheet metal work. So
we do. We have rollers and brakes and shears.
Yeah.
And plenishing hammers. We've got a pretty. We can make most things.
I got you. Good.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, let's walk outside and just take a quick peek in the hangar and maybe show a few of the planes. I know that y'all are flying today, so they may not all be there right now. Maybe we can take a look and see some of the stuff you got.
Okay.
All right, let's do it.
Come on out. This is a Link trainer, and we have a future pilot of America on board right now. Yeah. Putting it through its paces.
So this was actually used in World War II to train pilots for...
Even after. Yes,
Yeah.
you had to do 20 hours in here, and there's a desk over there to the left where they track your flight. So you were given a route to fly, and then they would track how accurately you could do it. Normally there's a cover goes on the top, so that it's a blind flying hood.
Yeah, so this was for like instrument flying training, right?
Yes,
Mostly.
after you learn all from the books, then you sat in here. And if you could do 20 hours in here and pass the test, then you moved on to actual real airplanes.
Wow, that's neat. I've seen these in like old antique videos, but this is the only one I've ever seen in person. That's pretty neat. Cool. Yeah. That's pretty complicated.
I'm amazed every time I watch that. There's a series of bellows supplying the air power.
I got you.
Controls
Neat.
In front of us is a P-63. This is the big brother to the P-39. This is a unique airplane. This one never flew in combat. This was a test airplane. It was a 400 mile an hour. It was attack airplane. But what's unique is that the cannon that you see, this is the...
Oh wow, yeah.
See, this is the ammunition for a 37mm cannon, and this fires through a hole in the hub. You see?
Wow.
So this was like a point-and-shoot airplane,
Yeah.
but it also had, in the wings, it also had machine guns. And it had machine guns that used to come out through the top of those little funnels there.
Oh yeah.
So it has to be sequenced
To go
with
between
the turning of the prop, so
Right.
you don't shoot yourself down.
Yeah. Neat.
But this was about the time the P-51 and other airplanes came along, and it couldn't match. Pilots didn't like it because of the limited view. If you look at the door, it looks like an automobile door.
Uh-huh.
It looks like it's from a 1943 Ford. In fact,
That noise you hear
P-51.
is firing up the Mustang over here. Let's walk out there and just take a quick look at it. Tell me about this one.
This is a PT-19A. This is a primary trainer that was used in, started I think in 1943 when they were training on this airplane. This one is unique. This one was actually used by the Tuskegee Airmen.
Okay.
This was assigned to them. So being in Atlanta with the Tuskegee Airmen and in this area, it's a historic airplane.
Yeah.
And it's an all-wood airplane, basically. Part of the frame is aluminum, steel tubing, but all the wings are wood.
Okay.
This is a wooden airplane.
Okay.
It's covered in a 332nd wood veneer
Wow.
on the wings.
Neat.
Yeah. So over in the corner there, that is a P-47 that we inherited from another wing that ran out of, I don't know whether they ran out of time or whatever. Anyway, it was assigned to us after they started the rebuild. This airplane, one of the wings caught on fire. So we are rebuilding another wing here.
Right.
So right now we're having parts manufactured to form the leading edge. And this is the ultimate fighter in World War II, the P-47, called the Jug. It came in late in World War II, but it was devastating. Its range and its armaments was just nothing that anybody could touch.
Wow.
It was a unique airplane. So this is it had a Pratt & Whitney Wasp engine up the front, the same as we use on our Corsair. The Corsair isn't here right now.
Okay.
Taxiing in is a Douglas Dauntless SBD dive bomber. This was an actual airplane from World War II, but it ended up in a South American Air Force. I'm not sure which one. That's where we got it from. But it is the correct vintage. dive bomber was in the Battle of Midway. It turned the tide. It found the Japanese fleet, and I think 2 aircraft carriers were destroyed by a flight of 19 of those.
Right.
And that turned the tide in the war in the Pacific. This is a T-34. This is really a Korean War era.
Was this
They don't use this anymore, but there's still a lot of these airplanes around.
Okay.
T-34. It was the Navy Air Force primary trainer.
right? I was about to say it's a trainer aircraft.
Yes, it's a trainer. So
Okay.
there's no ammunition on this. It's strictly a
Training pilots.
training pilots, and it's excellent at its job. Yes.
Good. While I was at Airbase, Georgia, I got the very cool opportunity to get to actually go up on a flight in their T-6 Texan, which is this airplane right here. This is when they were firing it up. Actually, this is not when I was in it, but one of the times I was filming it when they were cranking it up and getting ready to take it out. But one of my viewers, Rob Haley, is a volunteer out there. He's actually a pilot out there, and is one of the guys that takes people up for rides. And when he found out I was going to be coming up, he offered to give me a ride in this T-6 Texan. So really, really cool opportunity, really once in a lifetime opportunity. And I did get a chance to get a little bit of video of our flight, our actual flight that I was on, and we're going to be showing you some of that here in just a second. But really want to just thank Rob for the opportunity to get to go up and fly in this really cool airplane from World War II vintage. So let's see what we got here.
Control check.
Well, I don't know how much video I'm going to be able to do during the flight here, but
Okay.
we're ready to roll. We're about to take out of here. So first thing I just want to note is in that last little scene you saw there where I was strapped in the back, this plane was a trainer that was used for advanced training. It was basically the second airplane that would have been done for training in World War II. Practically every World War II era pilot that was trained flew in this plane, whether they were Army, Air Force, or Navy pilot. All of them had to fly this aircraft. But anyway, when I was sitting in there, I had on that blue harness. That was my parachute. You can see it up there in the front. Yeah, fortunately didn't have to use that, thank goodness. But anyway, I was in the back seat, which is normally where the instructor would ride, and Rob was up front actually flying the plane. But they did have controls in the back, and while I was riding back there in the back, I actually got a chance here in a minute to actually get a little bit of stick and rotor time and fly. I'm not a pilot. I have had the opportunity on one other occasion to do some flying where I actually got to actually try my hand a little bit at it. This is only the second time, but it was really cool. First time actually flying with a stick rather than a wheel. I don't know what the correct term is for it, but really neat experience. But anyway, there's just some shots of us as we were doing some flying. Rob actually did some aerobatics. We did some loops and barrel rolls, Cubans. I can't remember what all you called them. We pulled about 4 Gs. I think he told me right at 4 Gs. It was pretty intense stuff. Yeah, and it was a lot of fun. I'll be honest. The first time we did some of that, didn't really know what to expect. It was a little bit nervous, but after the first one, I kind of knew what was going on. I'm like, yeah, this is cool. So we got to do some really cool playing around up in there, doing some aerobatics in this plane, that's definitely the first time I've ever had an opportunity to do anything crazy like that. But anyway, just some shots of us flying. Unfortunately, I didn't have a camera that I could really mount to when we were doing the aerobatics. I had to put them up so we didn't get dropped. Now, this last little bit, I apologize. The video quality is terrible, but this is actually a little clip that Rob took from the front seat up there when I was actually controlling the airplane, and we were doing a few little turns and whatever. He was giving me some instruction through the headset, but just a really, really cool opportunity. Not something you get to do every single day by any means. First time I've ever had an opportunity to fly in World War II vintage aircraft, which is just really cool to me. I am a World War II history nerd, so this was really a great opportunity. And again, I want to thank Rob for giving me the opportunity to get up there and do that, and get to do something not everybody gets to do every day. Really, really awesome opportunity. And then thank you to the whole Airbase Georgia group for giving me this opportunity as well. Last couple little shots here, just Rob and I after the flight, standing in front of the airplane, and here we are up on the plane. So again, thanks, Rob.